hide it.
Okay, suitcase nukes.
Well, the suitcase nukes,
they're real?
I've studied that. They did exist. They were manufactured. But when you miniaturize a nuclear weapon to that extent, it's actually a very technical process. It's nothing at all like putting together an atomic bomb. The first atomic bomb was just basically a cannon barrel with two highly enriched pieces of uranium that they fired one through the barrel into the other. But when you try to miniaturize a nuclear weapon, it's very complex. And the experts that I've read about said that over time they degrade. And it would be the first reports I read about that were in the late 90s. I think it was Alexander Lebed. It was a Russian guy that announced this. But even if it was true that they weren't able to keep track of them, my opinion is if anybody really got their hands on one of those, they probably would have used it. I think if a terrorist organization or somebody gets a nuclear weapon, they're not going to just sit around and say, well, let's wait till a really good time. They're going to shoot that thing off.
How many do you think were made?
I think the Russians said that they'd made something like 90 or 100. Lebed said that they could only find 50 or 60 of them. So, who the hell knows? But, there's a lot of things that are even, to me, are scarier. The Soviets had nuclear material scattered all over the place. In Kazakhstan, they were working on nuclear rocket engines, and they had enough, uranium and plutonium down there to make 60 atomic bombs. Mm-hmm. And the United States went in and got a lot of that out with the help. That was back when we were actually kind of working with the Russians, but it's really, I swear to God, it's just amazing that we haven't had a bomb go off somewhere. It really is. There's so much highly enriched uranium that's out there that's been manufactured that, it's really a miracle that we haven't had it put together and used in a bomb someplace.
Okay. Down to Houston, Texas. First time caller. Hi.
Hey, good evening, Art. I can't believe I'm online, actually. I just have a question.
Are you listening, sir? I've got a question. Are you listening online?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, yes, sir. My question, sir, actually, I read an article a couple of months back. I believe they asked a Russian defense minister. It was just a basic scenario that the Russians said they would drop a nuclear weapon into, I believe it was Yellowstone National Park, since it is an active volcano, and that would basically just disrupt the United States, break it in half. I don't know if that's a scenario that...
Well, it would be, if they did that, it would be an act of war, and then we would have global thermonuclear war. Right, Professor?
Yeah, that's true. I read that same report, and I even discussed it with a friend of mine who had done some studies on it.
Yeah.
He said that the effect that they're predicting is somewhat debatable, talking about dropping weapons off the coast of California. There's... what scared me about that is just that there's military guys on each side. We have, extremists in all the nations, and the Russians have ultra-nationalists they'd like to start a war right now. We have people like that in the U.S. too, but, I worry that, Putin may be pictured as like a really bad guy, but there's honestly a lot worse. We could wind up with somebody a lot worse than him.